G'day guys, welcome to another Tools and Stuff Makita update. First up, the DBO 480. It's finally out, the quarter sheet 18 volt sander. I think I first talked about this back in like about, I don't know, November last year or something. It's taken a long time. I ordered this in January. Only finally just come to fruition, but it is out. It comes with quite a few goodies, but you'll have to wait for my review next week to see about that. Now let's get into what's new and upcoming. Now, next up, you may have seen me review the Milwaukee stick transfer pump 2 or 3 weeks ago. Well, within 24 hours of me finishing editing making this video, Makita announced a multi-head pump. By multi-head, I mean the split shaft systems. The PF400MP can lift to a max of 15 meters, whereas the Milwaukee that we reviewed here, the 12 volt, goes up to 4.6 meters. 15 meters is pretty impressive. Also, the Makita can move almost 5 times as much water when you use it on the 40 volt Powerhead. That means we're talking 150 liters a minute with this thing. It will of course be less for the 18 volt version and the 18 volt times 2. The outlet on the pump is designed to facilitate a hose with a 25mm internal diameter, or 1 inch, and should be rolled out around the world over the next few months. Next up, this one is not really new, but I'm guessing a lot of you haven't seen it. It's the Makita Invisible battery. This is a 40 volt, but the invisible battery works on both the 18 and the 40 volt, which makes it a very cool bit of kit. Works a treat. Unfortunately, it is not available in New Zealand. It is available in the US and also in Europe. That's where this one came from. Got it from the UK. Yeah, but not available in New Zealand. I'm not sure if it's available in Australia, but I'll put some links down below if you want to check that out. Now these next few tools are for those who keep on saying to me that 18 volt Makita tools are dead, they're not making any more, they're only doing XGT, the 18 volt line is a waste of time, yada yada yada. You're wrong. They're still making plenty of 18 volt tools, and they will for a long time yet. So here we go with a couple of new chainsaws. Now they're kind of like a cross between the DUC254 and the DUC353 in the background there. This is a single battery 18 volt top handle chainsaw. The one in the back there is an 18 volt times 2 rear handle chainsaw. So what is the new one like? Well, there's two new ones. The DUC307 and the DUC357, a 300mm bar and a 350mm bar rear handle single battery. So it's kind of like a combination of the two. So it's a single battery one of these, but it has way more torque than this. If you've tried this one or you've got one of these, you'll know that it cuts out quite easily. It doesn't have a lot of torque. If you put too much pressure on it, she's done. Whereas this, you can do a bit more pressure. So the 18 volt one is a bit more like this in that regard. I have used it and it definitely has a lot more torque, but this chain runs at a far slower speed, so you can't cut quite as quick, but it does have that extra torque, which is nice. It comes with the quick cover removal doohickey that this one has, and the quick tensioning. I'm sure Makita, knowing Makita, will also release them with the standard good old-fashioned captive nut. Time will tell, but expect that to be out in lots of the world pretty soon, as, yeah, like I say, I have played with one. They do exist. Next up, in a similar sort of vein, we have the DJR189 reciprocating saw. Except unlike this big monster of a reciprocating saw, it is a small single-handed hatchet style. I don't have a lot of information on it. In fact, I have next to no information on it. But I do have one image. So there it is. I'll let you know more info once I have more info. Next up, an 18 volt compact cutoff tool, the DMC300. This is a small brushless unit with a blade of only 75mm or 3 inches, used for cutting anything you would with a grinder, such as metal, concrete, ceramic tiles, plastic, you name it. Lots of other companies have had one of these out for a long time, so it's good to see Makita finally catch up on this one. It has active feedback sensing technology for reduced kickbacks. It has a dust collection cover or shroud similar to angle grinders from Makita. I'm not sure if that comes in the box as standard. It probably doesn't. It's probably an optional accessory. But nice to see that they have made one for it. It has a no-load speed of 20,000 RPM and comes in at about 1.2 kg without the blade or the battery on it. So it's a nice light little tool. I expect this one to be rolled out fairly soon across most of the world. Right, we need some XGT in this video. How about another mitre saw? First up we had the 165mm, then the 216mm, then this one, the 305mm, then the 260mm, then another 216mm, and now a 190mm. This new model, the LS008G, cuts to 312mm by 62mm deep. That's only 8mm less than the LS002G, the 216mm saw that so many guys love. It has AWS, a light that's on a flexible arm, and for some reason they've gone back to the laser guide rather than the shadow line. If you're familiar with the LS002G, then you will be familiar with the controls of this new saw. All the adjustments are the same, which is different to how the larger 10 and 12 inch versions are done. The most noticeable difference though is the rails on the side. All the previous saws have been on the left hand side, whereas this new saw, it is on the right. Why they have done that, I'm not exactly sure. It has a stabilizer arm that pops out the side to help you support larger material, but overall this saw is a very small, light, compact looking tool. Looks very handy and portable. But whether we will see this model outside of Japan, well, only time will tell. Anyway, that's another Makita update. I'm Tools. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff so that you don't miss out on the latest Makita news, and I'll see you guys on another one in a few more days' time. See you later. Size wise, these two are pretty close. Obviously the third sheet is a bit bigger. I have a brand new 60 grit sanding sheet on each of these three tools. Unfortunately one of them is aluminium oxide and the other two are aluminium with zinc, so they're slightly different, but we're going to run these for 1 minute each on this piece of wood here. I've got a heap of old wood I want to prepare, so we're just going to see how much difference it makes after 1 minute of sanding with 60 grit.